working on bringing more content to my blog, and I thought today would be the first day that I post a video, and here's why. One of the things that you have to do when you are analyzing either a scene or a chapter or a book is you capture the word count of that item. So either the scene, the chapter. Normally you don't do the whole book, but if you work up each of your scenes or each of your chapters, you will get a rough or the total count of the book. You can use this information for many different reasons and in many different capacities, which we can talk about later. But the question that I always get is, how can you do this? Now, number one, you can do it by counting the words in each one of those different um, lengths. Good luck if it's more than a scene, because that would be a lot of counting. So you can count them. Second is you can copy and paste that scene into a word processing document, Word, Pages if you're on a Mac, Google Docs, and that will usually tell you the word count if you go to the menu and select find the word count. And each of them are different. You can always access your help menu to learn it, but each of them will give you an output for the word count, either based on the total document or the highlighted portion. The third option I'm going to share with you today, which is something I kind of came up with and is just helpful. This is also helpful if you are looking at your book in a reader, like if you're using Kindle and you're using it on your computer, you can use this technique as well. So the first thing that I usually do is I find 3 places in my book, and I will show you because I'm analyzing Sexy Dangerous, and I'm also doing my personal analysis on Pride and Prejudice. And so what I do is I get 3 post-it notes. There we go. And I will do the following things. You want to find 3 random places in your book. You want, and when you find those random places, somewhere in the beginning, somewhere towards the middle, somewhere towards the end, and when you select that page, you want to ensure that the page is full of text. So let me give you an example. Here's a page in the Pride and Prejudice Story Grid Edition. These pages are full of text. So this would be a great place for me to identify towards the beginning of my book. Actually, I'm going to go a little bit further. And I'm going to show you a page that is not full of text, of course. Look at that. So you don't want to choose that page. It's not going to help you. I mean, you can choose it if you want, but it won't help you. So let me find another place towards the middle of the book. I'm going to choose this page here. Sorry. It's another full page. It's towards the middle. And all I do is put my post-it note there because I will write all the details on the post-it note. And then I will find one towards the end. Found one on first shot right here. Full page of text. From the top to the bottom is what we mean when we say full page. And then I mark that with the post-it note. Now, do you have to use post-it notes? No. This is just how I do it because it just makes it easier. I don't have to carry the information in my head. So you pick the 3 pages. On those pages, what you want to do is count the number of lines from top to bottom on each page, and you want to mark that on your post-it note. So that means you will have 3 figures. Oh, I should have warned you, math will be involved, but it's not crazy math. So you want to count the lines on each one of those pages, and you want to mark that on your post-it note. So you'll have your lines, and just mark it on each one of the post-it notes. Just count it. Find 3 places on each of those pages where you have a full line of text. Again, it's probably hard to see because I'm trying to show you on a book, in a book here, but let's say here where it says Bennett. I would count all from Bennett all the way to the end of that sentence, which is joy. And you want to find 3 places like that on that particular page and repeat that process on each of your pages. So that means on that given page, you'll have 3 lines that you will count the number of words in that line. And once you have those 3 places, you're going to add that total up. So let's say, for example, you have 12, then you have 13, then you have 10. I'm not going to try to, so you would have 12 plus 13 plus 10 divided by 3. That'll give you roughly 12 words per line. And so you want to write that down. You're going to multiply those 2 numbers. And so let's say, for example, you have your average number of, you have your number of lines, and then you have your average number of words per line. Multiply those 2, and that'll give you a total for the approximate word count on that page. Then you're going to do that for all 3 of your pages that you've identified in your book. Once you do all 3, you're going to add up those totals, divide by 3, and that's going to give you the average or the approximate number of words per page in your book. So what I normally do is once I do all of that, I will then record it on a Post-it note and put it on the front of the book. This works beautifully, especially if you're working from print books, which I like to do once I decide to analyze a story. And what I'm going to do is in the next segment, I'm going to actually do it and do all of the figures for doing it for Pride and Prejudice. And I will show you how that works. So I went through this book. I found my 3 places. I counted the number of lines. Then I found 3 lines and I counted all of the words in those, on those lines. When you do that, try your best not to find, of course, a line that's not a complete line, like going all the way from the left to the right. Another thing to look out for is if your book allows hyphens. Don't do that because it's not a complete word. It's just better to find a full line. And then I multiplied the, even with the decimal, that times the line count per page. And that gave me the approximate word count per page. So this is what my book looks like. You can, it just on each number, each rough word count. Okay, now what I do is, now it's time on the front of the book, or I will, if I'm carrying the book around a lot, I will stick it on the inside of the page, like in here. You could even write it, honestly, if you know you're going to analyze the whole book. So I now take each one of the totals. So in my case, it is 480. I add all of them up, plus 528 plus 456. That gives me 1,464 words divided by 3. And that gives me an average of 488. Now this just shows the lowest number was 456. The highest number was 528. And all of those were full pages. So my approximate number is 488 words per page. I got that. The next thing that I do is I get the approximate number for the number of words per line. So on one page, I had 13 words per line was my average. Another page, it was 15 words per page was my average. And the other one was 13 words per page. And then I divide by 3 again, and that gives me 14 words. I was saying per page, I apologize, per line. 14 words per line. All of this counts. I'll show you in just a second. And then all of the pages in this book have the same number of lines, which is 36. If this book would have had a different line, different number of lines, then I would have done the same thing. Add up each of the three totals, divide by three, and that will give you your average. So in this case, all of them were the same, but that's not the same for every book. So just as a warning. So in this book, it is 36 lines per page. So this is what you then get on the front of your book or wherever you paste it or write it. I have 488 words per page, 14 words per line, 36 lines per page. Why do you need all of this? You don't have to do it, of course, but it does help. So, therefore, if you have a chapter and you're reading the chapter, and so in this case, I have chapter 23. I know I flip through the chapter just like you would normally do and see how many full pages you have and in how many, if you have any partial pages. So in this case, I have this technically is a partial page where it says 23 because of the chapter header. So I won't count that. And then I have 1, 2, 3 full pages. And then I have 2 partial pages. Do I do this? Yes, I do. Especially when I'm analyzing it with our client's work or if I'm analyzing a master work so that I can use it to learn more about my genre. So then here's what you do. We know that for those 3 full pages, that on average it is 488 words per page. And then for our partial pages, we just count the number of lines and multiply that times your average words per line. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 14 equals 126 for one of the partial pages. The other partial page, and I do have to count aloud, so I'm going to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. 31 lines times 14. One of the things when I do this that gives me 434. I just count straight lines. Even if some of the lines only have a couple of words, I still count straight lines. And to me, that just works out. Some of the lines that have long words, some of the lines that have more words versus the fewer words. So I still do it. So that gave me 434. And now for my 3 full pages times 488 equals 1,436 plus 126 plus 434. And so that tells me that chapter 23 of Pride and Prejudice is approximately 2,024 words. And I'm actually going to put this in my spreadsheet. Why is this important? I'm actually adding this into my spreadsheet while I talk to you. The reason why this is helpful, I'll say not important, but let's say helpful, is let's say, for example, you are a new writer or you are writing in a new genre and you're trying to get the lay of the land. It's almost like if you go house hunting and you're comparing a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom to a 5-bedroom, or you're comparing the square footage to the number of bedrooms. To the numbers help you to get an overall assessment of what you're working with. Another thing that it does is it helps to kind of get an idea of what could potentially be your reader expectations. You will have some books, for example, in this book, if it, let's say, if there's roughly, let me say, a couple of the chapters in this book run over 4,000 words on average. Almost all the chapters run over at least 3,500 words. In Pride and Prejudice, it's around 2,000 ish, or like 1,500 to 2,000 words. That's a big difference. And so it's important to just kind of mark it, and it helps you. Do you have to do it? No, but I strongly suggest it, especially if you're deciding, if you are deciding to analyze one of your mentor books or one of your master works for your next project. So, that's all that I have for you today. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, place them in the comment section, and I look forward to interacting with you all in the future. Take care and goodbye.